This Ethan Confronts Hasan on Socialism.
If you're in a socialist country with multiple parties, and one of the parties is a capitalist party, what would you do if that party started gaining momentum?
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's a good question.
You in a video game? Sorry. Holy murder those motherfuckers in the street.
Yeah, so in the video game, okay.
Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods. That's what Mao did. That's what they did after the after the Bolshevik Revolution to other lefties.
The solution to that would always be education and
re-education camps.
Okay.
bring more
Re-education?
re-education, certainly, yeah.
In a socialist nation, on the other flip of the coin, wouldn't you also have a similar movement of people, a party?
I think Destiny actually game.
People wanting to move towards capitalism.
There will always be, yes, people who are counter-revolutionary.
Well, not just that. I mean, there's a move because capitalism, social democracy. There's a certain level of individualism that you don't have with socialism, perhaps I would say. And so I would ask you, what's the difference? You're saying that social democracy nations are the rich people are always going to be trying to erode the system. That's an assumption, by the way.
Well, it's not an assumption necessarily. It's descriptive in comparison to it's descriptive if you look at how it has played itself out in Europe, where we.
And you're right. I agree. That's what they'll be doing. So I'm not going to argue.
Even America had a lot of social democratic principles in the New Deal.
I'm not going to argue that. But I do think that in a socialist country, like I said, there's going to be a sizable amount of people moving towards capitalism. So what's the difference?
They would kill those people. They would murder those people. They would murder those people. That's the difference between liberalism and illiberalism. In liberalism, you can have fascists like Donald Trump or socialist commies like Hasan that are advocating for everybody to move towards their ideology. But in any of their worlds, those people will be murdered. That's the difference.
Yep, you won't be able to living in it.
Somebody's giving Ethan real answers right now. That is the act. That's why some of these guys have put him against the wall. The blood will run red or the streets will run red with the blood of landlords and blah 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 blah.
State mechanism of control, which exists in neoliberal capitalism as well. And this is actually an area where I very much diverge from other socialists.
Doubt it. You only diverge when it's politically popular to do so. If they're on a tanky podcast and you're just as much a tanky as the rest of them, don't ever trust a lefty. Don't ever trust a lefty when they say they're more liberal than the other guys. So they never just like trusting a crypto Nazi or crypto fascist when they say, oh no, like we respect the people. It's the exact same type of thing. The exact same type of thing.
I would say, or even more orthodox Marxists, that I believe the neoliberal mechanisms of control, specifically, it's just
the
how do I
boogeyman.
describe it? Free market. Markets are better than
free market. Neoliberal is free market. I think neoliberalism implies a certain type of disdain for especially far lefty movements. I think it implies a certain type of globalist capitalist agenda. So things like the World Economic Forum, the International Monetary Fund, a particularly hawkish view of foreign policy. I think this is what neoliberalism implies. I don't think neoliberalism is just markets. That's capitalism. But
than the government at dealing with everything.
Okay.
So I think that there is two different, as reductive as possible, there's two different types of control. Control is always going to happen. This is what the state is there to do, right? Under liberal capitalist democracies in the West, you have a neoliberal mechanism of control that dulls the masses through commodities, gives you the false notion of choice. You feel like you have 32 different brands of Oreos, even though they're like owned by 3 companies that price fix.
that's
right?
neoliberalism is when all the Oreos are owned by 3 companies? Is that neoliberalism? Neoliberalism is when all the ice cream flavors are all at Baskin Robbins?
They basically control all matter commodities, and those markets are completely captured.
What, captured? What do you mean by captured? As in...
There's this idea that there are, this endless, boundless amount of choices that you can choose from. On the other side, the more authoritarian mechanisms of control, which have existed
What's your opinion?
I like the neoliberal one. I think that even in a socialist state, you should still very much give the people the false notion of choice and make it feel like they have a say in the process while doing the bidding of, I mean, it's a pretty cynical worldview, but I think that, that's what states are supposed to do.
Let me ask you this.
And that will create a structure where there are
significantly
less people who are like, I hate the system right now. I don't feel happy. I don't feel good in the system that I exist under. So I should, do counter-revolutionary capitalist reforms.
Well, and likewise, I don't think there's that many people in Sweden or Norway who are saying, no, we need to move to a pure socialist because everybody there is provided.
True. True.
No, you're absolutely right. You're actually 100% correct.
So, like,
some Orthodox Marxists actually hate the welfare state for this reason. Because
why does Ethan tweak out so much? I believe that Ethan has Tourette's, so that's why you kind of see him make like weird jerking motions sometimes. Is that's part of his Tourette's syndrome?
the welfare state is a continuation of capitalism by offering certain amenities.
Seems like
then you know they already
Liberal capitalism has thrived and has created a structure where like the inherent contradictions that exist under capitalism that I think everyone would agree with, including yourself, those inherent contradictions become a little bit more muddied, and they never end up getting to a point where they converge and capitalism erodes into some socialist formation.
Let me be, I guess, more specific. If you're in a socialist country, is there one party or multiple parties?
It depends. I mean,
hey, let's look at Vietnam. Hey, let's look at China.
actually depends. What a big answer.
Look, it depends. Imagine having to say it depends. In capitalism and neoliberal societies, you're given a false choice when all the ice cream manufacturers are really ran by 3 ice cream makers. Oh, how many political parties do you get in a social system?
Party scary, right? Can we agree on that? A one-party system is not a good system.
I think you and I would agree that we.
No, I'm just asking you. I don't care about the United States. I'm asking you about socialism.
I think that there are different forms of governance, and the United
God, he's such a weasel. Does his audience see him weaseling? Do you think I think one party would be bad? Well, there are different forms of governance.
States is not that
I don't
different.
care about the United States. I just want to talk about a socialist.
Actually, people think to different topics.
I think that no matter what happens, the state does what the state is supposed to do. You can either
What a non-answer.
do it at the behest of your citizens because you genuinely earnestly believe that like that is the best possible way of developing a society, or you do it at the behest of capital owners and
So
capitalism.
you're saying you don't think it matters if there's one party or
I think it matters as far as I care about direct democratic participation in local
one-party systems with
How do
socialism?
you answer that way? Imagine saying, because the whole center point for their whole like quasi wannabe democratic cuck bullshit is that, well, democracy, what is democracy in the workplace? Now, after complaining that there are only 3 different Oreo makers, now you're going to complain that, or now you're going to make a claim that it doesn't matter how many political parties exist?
Or communism has pretty much always been a catastrophe,
Yeah.
a humanitarian disaster.
No, I agree with that.
There's just so much risk in having one party.
I agree with that. I think that a multi-party system is obviously going to be better.
Oh, now he says it. A minute or two after bullying from Ethan, he finally says it. Okay.
The point is that it doesn't even matter if you have a parliament. It doesn't even matter if you have a multi-party system. The changes that are being made
对什么 party
in
now
one direction or the other are oftentimes incredibly marginal. And
Yeah, that's how systems work, by marginal incremental change. Welcome to every parliamentary, congressional, government thing ever. Yeah, that's for stability. That's what you kind of need, incremental change. No country would work if everything's dramatically changing every fucking 2 months.
the differences are not born out of like the party disagreements. The differences are born out of like genuine material conflict, like even including like the civil wars. Never like the kindness of people's or like one party of individuals being like, we are kind, we want to do good things, and the other side is bad.
Because you're not supposed to be kind and doing good things. You're supposed to be representing your constituents. Congress and parliament and executive leadership is not about kindness. It's about doing what the people that voted for you want.
And they want to do bad things.
So what I want to say was this: then. If you're in a socialist country with multiple parties, and one of the parties is a capitalist party, which would surely exist, what would you do if that party started gaining momentum? And it was clearly like,
Oh my God, Ethan is asking such a question. You murder them all. Say it. You kill them all. You kill everybody. That's what the leftists do. That's what Mao did. That's what they did after the Bolshevik Revolution. Tell the lefties. That's what you do in a leftist country. When you take over, you kill all the other people. That's what happens.
wanted that.
That's what the Nazis did when they took power. When they were working with the lefties, they killed the lefties there. Now the Nazis weren't lefty, but like, yeah, when you're an illiberal party, when you don't believe in liberalism, you gain power. The first thing you do is you kill everybody else who opposes you or has any actual parliamentary threat to you, parliamentary, democratic, whatever governmental threat.
Route. They wanted that route.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I think I would do what America has done. Not
Oh my God, you're such a pussy. How can you be this tall,
okay good I'm
that
done
much chicken, and be such a pussy ass little fucking bitch? He's actually such a pussy. Can we get like some 4'8" midget here that Hasan can press it and get some of his fucking confidence back? God, he's such a weak-willed individual. Oh my God, say it with your fucking chest. Holy shit.
to the same degree. Not to the same degree as like McCarthy's trials or anything like that.
Oh, so you would trial them? You convict them of crimes? You bring up McCarthyism, the guy that hunted down everybody for communism? Is Ethan another reference to what you're saying right now?
But I would offer additional amenities to ensure that people are comfortable and happy because I feel like
But what do you do if they're like, no, fuck that, we're doing capitalism?
Yes.
everything is
okay, so Weasley I
given
can
to you at that point. If every single thing is given to you, all of your problems are solved, which I think we can both agree is not under capitalism, has not happened. If all of those problems have been solved, then there is no need for conflict of that regard.
But they're saying, no, we want because like, it's a free country, right? Well, we want to do capitalism. We think the market should regulate the prices and shit. Like, we don't think the workplace should be socialized.
Okay, that's a great question.
And what about,
You have to ask why though at that point.
Oh my
Because
God,
well,
you won't
want to be
answer.
explained by why anyway.
Hasan won't answer the question.
You're right.
It's like it's just going to exist.
Hasan won't answer because the question is you would kill them. Just say it. That's what you would do. You would kill people who are opposing you in your illiberal regime. If liberals come up and you're illiberal,
yeah just eliminate
you would kill them. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And so, if the will of the people is to go back to do more of social democracy, is that something that a socialist country should move towards, or should there be resistance to the government to keep socialism?
I think the resistance should be akin to how capitalist governments have resisted historically any kind of socialist movement. Not to the same degree of violence, but I think that yes, the solution to that would always be education and
Re-education camps?
offering more
Re-education?
okay he just loses
education,
it
certainly. Yeah.
Somebody give me the clip of that one from Losers. Like we would house our comrades in re-education camp. Somebody please give me the clip. Please give me the clip.
I know that's like a
That's
free
like
word.
the camps.
No, not like that. I know
No,
that's
not the camps. Oh, no.
true word because all re-education would mean like immediately people think like, are you talking about like residence schools? Are you talking about
I
Xinjiang?
agree.
Yeah, 100% they do. They did it in Xinjiang.
Which is good, right?
No, I don't agree with that. Yeah, I don't think it was good. This is something I have openly criticized as well. Like that's not good. The massive surveillance apparatus they built in Xinjiang is not good.
So what would be good about a socialist re-education camp for capitalists?
It wouldn't necessarily. I don't think it'd be camps. I mean,
Well, wouldn't be Oh my
Camps.
God, I don't hate Hasan. What I hate are all of the mind-numbingly retarded fucking fans that can watch him squirm like this.
concentration
I think that's the most. You literally have you got like the drunken Dayquil master over here, okay, Ethan, asking the most innocuous questions, and Hasan is acting like he's getting pressed in front of like a fucking Senate Judiciary Committee, and he's like under oath, and he's like committed like 50 million crimes, trying to hide from the United States. Like it's actually appalling.
depends on
Yeah,
it depends on crimes,
yeah.
right? Like are people committing crimes at the behest of this? Because if there's a socialist state and someone's doing like white terror, let's say, or someone's doing
Stealing
South
wages.
Korean style, purges of communists, which has happened historically in every country in America.
Sorry, hold on. We just skipped so much shit. This is stupid. My synergy froze. Oh, this is the But rather than this is the clip. Hold on. This is what they want to do.
okay
diagnosed or untreated mental illness will be substantially lower. It's a sad fact that some violent or predatory individuals may never be capable of entering back into society, but rather than abandoning these people, we must do our best to give them the best possible chance at recovery and reform, with the hopes of eventually re-entering society. In situations where re-entry does seem possible, care must be taken to monitor and assist these reformed individuals to preempt relapse or deception, and to ensure that the patient successfully emerges back into wider society. Reactionaries and counter-revolutionaries will be treated in a very similar manner. How we deal with former capitalists, fascists, and other such oppressors will be one of the great tests of anarchist society. Great care must be taken to treat them compassionately and humanely, giving them every opportunity to join our society as active and productive comrades, starting by treating them like any other comrade with special circumstances. Rather than ship deposed class enemies off to inhumane gulags or otherwise seek out revenge, they should be placed in reform centers where they're able to live in comfort and benefit from counseling and education, teaching them about the benefits of our new society. Some may never be willing to give up their abuses, and these diehard oppressors would need to be secluded, perhaps indefinitely. But capitalists and reactionaries who demonstrate a willingness to re-enter society on equal footing should be given every opportunity to learn, grow, and eventually rejoin our community in peace.
Bro, somebody link this to Ethan. That's what Hasan wants.
Well, would probably be a lot better than like a prison structure where they have slavery like in the United States of America.
I'm still a little bit confused about the ideal mechanism of a socialist country, where people still have individual freedoms to like form, to assemble,
But not
and can also be like, yeah, I'm a capitalist, so what? And we're trying to grow a movement. I don't understand the organization of the socialist free country, because it seems to me to have a socialist country, there needs to be some amount of dampening of,
Freedoms. Yes, that is illiberal. Correct.
rights.
Well,
Because, like, for what?
yes and no, because
Doesn't
my point is
know.
always the same. It's that this is a constant. This is consistent. What you're describing is consistent with the American formation. It's consistent with capitalism. It's just a reality that will always exist. Violence and who gets to do violence is an inherent part of politics. Because politics is, at the end of the day, a distribution of resources and a distribution of violence. Who gets to have what resources and who doesn't have the resources as a consequence of that. And if they do something to get those resources, what the state will be able to do. The state has a monopoly on violence across the board, no matter what happens. Right? I'm not an anarchist. A lot of anarchists will get mad at me for saying this, but the state should have some level of a violent mechanism because no matter what happens, and there's different forms of violence as well. There's structural violence of poverty or direct violence in form of military boots on the ground military warfare, imperialism, police violence, police brutality. These are all different forms of
There will
violence.
be some exertion of force required to maintain a socialist
Yes,
country.
not just a social country, any country.
Sure, any country.
Yes, I agree. Until we reach a point of
Mass
I guess,
education where everybody is.
until
Bing-a-ling.
production,
Bing-a-ling.
productive output has gotten to a point where it's so streamlined and so organized that there is no need for a state. But I don't know if we'll ever reach
Bing-a-ling.
where the state withers away. We have a classless, borderless, moneyless society.
Yeah, I mean, if it is, it's not all the time. It has to be like post-World War III or something. Let me ask you, I guess, another angle here. Worker exploitation seems to be at the heart of socialism.
It's young socialist
And so
wants
I would
to
ask you this.
capitalism and offers socialist state because the aesthetic is cool.
Employee is fairly compensated. And by fairly, I mean that factors like work, compensation, they're being paid well beyond the means of living. They can afford comfortable housing, food, pleasure, vacation, savings, all the things people would want to do with money. If they're provided in all those ways that we see as important, is that still exploitation?
In the Marxian sense,
Yes.
yes. In the capitalist sense, no. Capitalism is seen.
Well, social. When you say Marxism, you're talking about socialism.
Yes. So in the Marxist perspective, under Marxian economics, Marxist theory, exploitation is not a good or bad thing. It is just a thing that happens.
Okay.
And it goes back to something I've described many times over, which is that there are two classes. There is the labor class, the wage laborers, the proletariat, and the bourgeois class, the capital class, right? And these two classes have two inherently contradictory interests. You work jobs when you had a boss and someone's paying you, and you have been a boss. So you have gone through both of these stages. So as someone who worked in a job as a wage laborer, as a W-2 employee or 1099 contractor, you want to work the least amount of hours for the most amount of pay.
Wow.
That's understandable. That's like perfectly reasonable, right? Like you want more money and you want to work less hours, you want to have more freedom. Your boss, on the other hand, wants you to work the most amount of hours for the least amount of pay, like that they can get away with.
Yeah.
So this inherent contradiction is at the heart of capitalism and is how commodities are produced under a capitalist mode of production. Now, when you have this imbalance, those who do have capital end up always being able to pay you much less than your actual
So
output.
that is what's happening now.
Yeah.
My question is, in a situation, as I outlined, where the employees are fairly provided for, which I outlined before, is that when I say exploitation, I mean, like, I think that also has a vernacular, like when the ruling class is committing some kind of harm or injustice on the workers.
No, it's beyond. You can be paying your employees fairly, but still engage in the act of
So
exploitation.
then, because I don't know how you're saying exploitation is neutral by
Yeah,
definition.
exploitation in the Marxian sense is not good or bad. It's just descriptive. A lot of what Marx has talked about,
So what does he mean then?
descriptive.
But what does he mean then when he goes, well, the exploitation of workers? Clearly, he wants to end the exploitation of
Of
workers.
course.
So is it still exploitation of workers if they're fairly provided for?
Yes, because the fairness in this regard is not met on the metrics of like living standards, but instead on the metrics of what their output is. So and this gets into the labor theory of value, right?
goddamn.
The labor theory of value, which is different than marginal utility, what we use currently when we ascribe when we say this is this much, like something is this valuable, right? Ice cream is $4. But if it's really high up, maybe ice cream is $5 because well, there's a little bit of scarcity on the supply, but the demand has gone up, so now ice cream is more expensive. Whereas from a Marxian perspective, the value of that ice cream is stable. It's just what kind of labor went into the production of it, what were the resources used to make that ice cream, what kind of capital was put into the ice cream factory,
Well,
all of that, and
employees-
then also the moving part
What
of
if it's like really hot outside and the employees have to work harder that day? Wouldn't the cost increase?
that situation would be the labor of it.
If the employee is extremely satisfied
Yeah.
and they feel well provided for, I mean, in a sense, it's like, who are you to tell him he's being exploited?
Well, you're
Again, I know you
saying
want to get
that
caught up on
because
that,
it's not-
because it's not, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's what I would say in that situation is this, right? Relying on the magnanimous nature of your boss
Yeah.
and hoping that like your boss doesn't succumb to greed and choose to change certain things about your workplace conditions can be great. And there are people like yourself out there who are, as far as I understand, pretty good bosses, right? But that is never going to be that's never going to be
Right,
constant. That's
never.
never going to be the case.
But in social democracy, you set up the bumpers, you set up the systems where
Yeah.
they have to do that.
Well,
That's the bare minimum they have to do.
Well, and then we go back to the erosion of the amenities.
I don't feel like that's a strong enough
of
argument to say socialism is better.
No, as long as there is some kind of capitalist compensation in any sort of sector, they will always choose to monopolize. This is what most companies, like this is what every company does when they become a company, a corporation. Their job is their goal is to inevitably become a monopoly. You can do that by rent
Well, so
seeking.
what? You know, so what? If they still have to follow the rules.
Well, no, when you are becoming a monopoly,
Yeah.
you are either engaging in horizontal integration and expansion or vertical integration and expansion, mergers, acquisitions, and you know what Amazon's done, for example, in e-commerce is a great example of this. And when you get to that point, especially under a capitalist state that still has market reforms, you end up using the additional capital that you've accumulated in the form of profits from your workers to lobby the government and erode the safety nets.
But you're talking like it's a guaranteed. And
No,
again,
it's a guaranteed every single
and it's been a guaranteed by the same metric that any socialist country devolves into disaster.
Ooh,
But it's not
true.
fair to put it out there like it's just given. Because on
True.
the flip point, you could say, this, like I mentioned, socialism, there's going to be people moving towards capitalism.
So social
But it's
nations,
too hypothetical.
social nations, however, historically, most of them at least, have not eroded or been destroyed due to like people who are just like, I want to be capitalist. Usually those people are being goaded or supported, facilitated by a much more powerful nation
Nobody could naturally desire free markets or liberalism. They always have to be externally motivated for it. Oh,
Okay,
that is using the inherent greed to their advantage to cause divisions. But the real material issues in socialist nation states, historical socialism, real socialism in the real world has happened, has always been due to mishaps, famine, or the government exercising too much authoritarian
Yeah, you
control.
said the same
These sorts of things are the real reasons as to why socialist nation states have failed, not necessarily their economic mode of production switching over to a more labor-focused economy. And then also, there are so many different types of socialist developments, like a socialist mode of production, that there is no like one absolute perfect one. And I'd be lying if I told you I know which one it is. You know what I mean?
Go back to the original question. Let's just ignore this theory that in social democracy, and I'll say this, obviously we have antitrust laws that are not good. They're not been effective in the least bit.
Yeah,
But
I'll ask you
you
why.
can regulate.
No, but I'll ask you why.
Well, because our government is super corrupt.
Why is the government corrupt?
Not
Because
this
people
big,
are inherently flawed.
You think the government's corrupt because people are inherently flawed? Corruption in that sense, I disagree with you.
Some people, not all people. That's another thing I said. People are inherently greedy and people lost their mind. Some people are.
The
I want to talk about that at better length, but go ahead.
That's actually a great take as well. We can cover that as well.
Yeah,
I always butcher this quote, but I forget who it was. It might have been Marcus, it might have been someone else. But assuming that greed is inherent in human nature under a capitalist organization of the economy is like assuming the black lung is inherent in human nature if you were to fucking coal mine.
See, that's not a good analogy.
Because no, you're
In my
right.
opinion.
Greed is a part of it. Self-interest is a part of it. Not greed necessarily, but self-interest is a part of human existence. Why we have built societies, how we've done it. However,
It's a biological survival
Exactly.
mechanism.
However,
if we didn't have self-interest, we wouldn't survive as a species.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. My argument always, and many Marx arguments actually, have always been around individualism and self-interest, and how socialism, as a matter of fact, creates more opportunities for individual liberties for the person. It's only been sold and told to people as though it is this gray brutalist architecture, city blocks. You have to do your government mandated coal mining job or whatever the fuck. But the ultimate goal has always been to open up more individual liberties. I'll give you an example of socialization that you and I both agree with, right? Healthcare, nationalized healthcare or socialized medicine in general gives you more liberties as a person that you can actually leave your job.
That would happen in social democracy as well.
Yes. However, like I've said, there has to be the countermeasures in a social democracy the capitalist forces are significantly more powerful because ultimately the state is still operating as a capitalist state. That is still the norm.
So I think we're having like a kind of just like a disconnect, or not a disconnect, but maybe an impasse on that idea. But what I'll say, I want to give you a specific example because this is interesting to me. Let's just take this workplace as an example because we're all familiar with it. So I started my career 10 plus years ago, and I was successful by myself with 0 employees.
Yes.
I made a lot of money. I did well for myself, and then 5 years ago into my career, I made the podcast, which obviously you all are watching now. So let's say we go back to 5 years ago when I hired Dan as a freelance. You started as like a consultant.
Yeah, a freelancer.
And obviously you went full time. I'll get to that.
Yeah.
So he started as like a freelance consultant. So what would be a fair way of compensating him for that?
Ooh, employment under socialism. Good
Oh
luck.
boy,
In
here
your
it comes.
situation, it's like what is the most like socialist way of doing it? Is that what you're asking?
Well, yeah, that's what we're talking about, right?
It would be profit sharing. What
So
happens is
Profit sharing is not really socialist. Well, that's not the worst answer you could give. That's not the worst answer you could give.
So this is interesting. Hold on.
This is interesting, you're right.
Yeah.
This is actually the most difficult aspect, in my opinion, of
The
like
most difficult aspect of socialism is figuring out how to hire people.
trying to create the most ethical way of existing under a capitalist organization of the economy. While
It's not hard under capitalism to exist as a socialist, by the way. You can organize a company in whatever structure you see fit. Nobody's keeping you from doing otherwise.
you
Yeah.
are also productive.
Would there be anything better? Technically, a more socialist way would be if somebody wants to work for your company, they need to buy into the company so that they're cooperative owners, so that as the company increases or decreases value, which is going to be relational to the labor that they put into it, you as an employee get to enjoy the benefits of that. That's the fruits of your labor, is the increase of the value of the company. And then because you have part ownership in it, you get to increase your ownership stake, obviously. Isn't that profit sharing? No, profit sharing is when you're paid back. Profit sharing is not an equity stake in the company. That's just like a reimbursement for a good year, a cut of the revenue.
And you're
Royalties versus equity.
doing like an owned and operated media company where you are the
So
product.
I hired Dan as a consultant.
Yeah.
Just to help us out to get things.
And I've hired people as well.
So then I'm profit sharing with him. How much profit am I sharing?
So the way I do it, and I think this will be, I mean, this is instructive for many others as well. The way I do it, like, the most ethical way to do it is basically
What
try-
Hasan does is instructive for others. Oh my god. Before, now on that Tanky show, he's like, bro, we're just like YouTubers, we don't do shit. But now when Ethan is president, well, hold on, I'm gonna act in a way that's instructive to other social. Now he's gotta be like a role model. Okay. Hello, what's up?
I have two things to say about Hasan.
Oh, great. Begin
I think one of
games.
the I think the reason he supports these like Marxist ideas is because he's a money-hungry, fame-hungry jackass, and he just doesn't like the idea of people making more money than him. And these sorts of Marxist viewpoints would just create a society where other people can't out-earn him.
Okay, that's definitely a take.
Secondly, like the Marxist theory of value is fucking stupid. Like what Hasan keeps doing, what a lot of Marxists do, is they ignore the fact that labor itself is a commodity. And I think you pointed it out before that if it's really hot out and employees are working harder, that would like basically increase the cost of their labor. You
Sure,
know,
although big like labor theory value guys are gonna have ways to account for this, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're part of the Ask Yourself community, right?
not exactly. I don't really hang out in his Discord.
Oh, because I know they've got a couple of big LBT guys or LTV guys that will sit there and argue about Marxist shit. So, but I don't know. Okay, all right, nobody else has.
Okay, take care.
to make an assessment. Sure, there's market considerations on one hand, like what the normal wage would look like, but that is like the minimum. You know what I mean? That is like the minimum. That is the worst possible amount to pay someone in the form of wages, in my opinion.
Okay.
So you have the market considerations on one side, which I don't necessarily care too much about. On the other side, you have your productive output, right? Let's say you were making $10 before Dan came on, and now that Dan came on, you're making.
That wouldn't be measurable.
No, no, I know.
Brother DJ, thanks for giving 5 cents.
I know. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I know. Which is why I'm saying it's like a tricky situation.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Ask yourself molding. Wait, over what? Why do you even have this ready to link?
Give you mods.
I'm listening.
Stop,
I'm
shut
here,
up!
guys.
Shut up! Shut up! Fuck, dude. Are you fucking retarded or something? Do you hear me speaking? Stop talking!
well, technically, the other side is also very cruel, but it's
But
like
it's
normal.
true, because in social democracy, people are fairly compensated. It's not cruel. In my opinion.
No, there's. I don't think. I think we
people could be more
market-
fairly, less fairly compensated, but like generally speaking, they'd be more fairly compensated than what we would see today.
Yes, in comparison to the United States of America, which technically would be a mixed market for social democracy. Social democracies in other countries, there's better compensation.
So here's the unintended consequence of that.
Due to regulation government.
If I'm just hiring Dan to come in and help you with cameras and stuff, and I have to cut him in on profit share, people are not going to hire as many people. They're going to think a lot more before they bring more people on.
Can I just chime in real quick? Just to clarify this point, are you still talking about the period of time where I was working as a contractor?
Yes. I'm not to the full time yet. We're going to move to that.
Right. I will just say that at the time I was essentially operating as my own business as well because you weren't my only client. At the time.
Right, okay.
I did that professionally for a lot of people, and you were one of many people that I would come and do shows with until you offered me a full-time thing. So just because we're using a specific example, I just want to clarify that because that matters in what the dynamic was when we were initially working together.
I don't think that matters in such that I'm more focused on the profit
So
sharing.
the reason why I was bringing up
the implications on to a business owner of that.
Okay, the reason why I was bringing up the revenue is because let's say you're making $10. Dan comes on, now you're making $15.
Yeah.
Right? Dan has brought in $5 extra of revenue for you, and I think that the best possible way to engage with that would be to cut Dan in on like offer Dan living wages plus whatever Dan has brought in the form of revenue.
It's a big problem.
And that moves in a direction like you make, and then later down the line you make.
Imagine ever trying to track this shit ever. Imagine you bring in Dan, and what Dan does is he helps people schedule appointments more efficiently. So Dan comes in, you're making $1 million a year, now you're making $1.2 million a year. But it's not just because Dan's like scheduling people. Those other people are also doing more work. How the fuck do you ever track this type of value add? How would you ever do it? Like with more, imagine this with 3 employees, let alone like 100.
$100,000, and now Dan is doing this.
It's absolutely almost impossible to track.
This seems more like it's a nice theory, but like in application it makes no sense. Who decides how much value he's brought? How do you possibly decide that? If my show is growing, Dan joins, and let's say I know I'm making $15, but the show is organically growing. How can I attribute all 5 of that to Dan?
You're absolutely
Am I
right on this as well.
supposed- am I
This is a big,
supposed to 50-50 with him?
this is something that I do not have an answer for either, which is why, like I said, you make do with you try to do your best.
No answer.
This seems like a big problem to say you don't have a solution for it.
For hiring employees, yeah. You don't know how to do hiring. That seems to be pretty, and this is the whole central part of your theory is better
Yeah,
employees.
it's already pale.
That's a pretty big issue. Like,
for socialist society.
I agree, which is why I always
seem like ready.
Well, can I just chime in on this? This isn't theoretical. There are lots of companies that do profit sharing.
I do this.
not like this, homie. What major company does profit sharing like this? Companies might give you stock options or even like allow compensation in the form of stock. That's the closest you're gonna. Some companies might do bonuses. Some companies might be on commission. But like profit sharing like this, no.
I know, but it's not like. But they say this.
And they have various methods of how they do it.
The way
No.
There are ways to do it that make sense.
I do
but
this
the way
way.
that socialism does it in the pure sense is like Dan joined 10 to 15. Dan gets half of the 15.
So
that's his.
Even,
labor.
this is, if we're talking pure
Hold
theory,
on a
if we're talking pure theory,
Yeah.
I would rather have an imperfect structure that still absolutely offers
It
better.
doesn't work.
Well,
If you don't know how to get paid, how does it even work?
the capitalist structure also is imperfect in the exact same
Well,
way.
it's functioning at least.
Yes, I
He
know.
wants imperfect structure.
The idea that like the other structure would not function is not correct. Especially when we're telling you that even under a capitalist organization economy, there's plenty of different ways of doing
But there
this.
needs to
One of the most successful ones I also have is a cooperative, right? I have a cooperative, collectively organized podcast, for example, where we just split it 5 ways regardless. Obviously, my output in that situation, given that I am the host with the largest audience, would significantly outweigh my producers, for example, who could be paid with a very fair, very fat market wage, right? Market wage plus market wage times 3 is what I could pay him, and it would still be significantly less than what he gets paid now because we're cutting him in 5 ways. We're splitting him in 5 ways,
Yeah.
and that is a perfectly viable way to do it because
I think that's very generous, but I don't think you should be forced to do that.
I think
you should be forced to pay him what we determine as a minimum wage where he can live where he lives in a comfortable state.
yeah,
And I don't think
it's not,
that
it goes beyond,
from being
beyond wages too.
generous.
It goes beyond wages as well. There's also another aspect of this that many people fail to consider, which is decision making. So there's also the structure of decision making, the structure of autonomy. When we are setting up the time for when we're going to shoot a podcast, like everyone has to be on board with it. It has to work around every single person's schedule. These are all scheduling conflicts exist usually, but it's like in good faith, every single person is like giving their most, giving their all, and it ultimately I think creates a pretty solid product.
Let me ask you. So do you acknowledge that in this socialist theoretical country where I go from 10 to 15 and I give them 15, anywhere to join, that I, as a business owner, I would be less likely to be hiring people?
Certainly.
And that's not good, is it?
No, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing at all.
Because like I don't know, because like I've gone through a lot of people that did not work out, and they were hired on like let's say.
Still fire them.
Exploratory. So is it at will employment in this situation?
In this structure, you can still, of course, like you can still have issues with an employee and fire them. It's ironic, like Japan, for example, is like the most capitalist country on the planet, and yet in Japan they have this like very unique culture where getting into a place of business is very difficult. But once you actually have made it into the corporation, they don't fire you. They can't fire you. They never fire you. What they do is that they ostracize you and make you into a social pariah within the company and try to get you to quit.
Is it because they're trying to avoid paying some kind of severance?
No, it's like, but culturally, if I'm not mistaken, it could literally have legal implications as well. But it works, right?
Okay,
It technically works.
But I'm saying, why is it? Why is it not? So as a business owner, I think the fact that I was not super hesitant to hire lots of people, find the crew that worked. I worked with a lot of people who were not compatible. So I was able to burn through enough people to find a team that worked, right? And so if I was so hesitant to hire people because I could profit share with them, I would do a way more strenuous interview process. It would take way longer.
You're making an argument for why it's stronger. Like,
I don't think so at all.
You lucked out with Dan.
I don't think that's the argument because first of all, it's good that people can go try a bunch of jobs before they find one that works. And as an employer, it's good to be able to try one to find the right fit for employees. If I had to go through the strenuous process to find each one of them, this podcast may very well likely not exist as it does today. It might not exist at all.
I disagree with you on that for sure. I think that it's better to have a strenuous process of ensuring that you have the best possible.
Even for like the most entry level job.
Yeah, I think that it's
doesn't that result in people not getting work?
Yes, it will. But then we're talking about like an entirely separate way of organizing the economy.
Why is it better that I have to go through like extraneous full-on HR processes?
We're talking hypotheticals in this situation, so I can just hypothesize that you found Dan.
No, we're not talking hypotheticals.
You found Dan, so you clearly.
We went through a lot of people before we found Dan.
Yeah, well, you could have arrived at Dan as well. Is what I'm saying.
It would have taken a lot longer, and business might not survive.
Okay, so
there was a point where the podcast almost got wrapped up.
Yeah.
So why is it better in theory to have that?
What is actually happening?
Kind of just people try things out.
This is only one aspect of it, but what you're talking about, like the extraneous hiring process, also will exist under a social democracy as well. It should exist in some form under social democracy as well, like some level of protection from being fired.
But so in social democracy, you're not rev sharing. So there's like this big thing that you're like, I'm a business owner. I created this business with my own sweat and blood and tears for the last 10 years, and I'm making a lot of money. I gotta hire this guy who I don't know anything about, and I gotta cut him in on my profits. That doesn't exist in social democracy. So the risk to me as a business owner is way
much smaller, to a much smaller degree, because it's supposed to exist through unions. And once again, it's not just revenue sharing. Everyone always focuses on that aspect of it, but rev sharing comes in the form of benefits. Rev sharing comes in the form of like how much we invest in.
It'd be nice if you could talk someone who knows the system a little more thoroughly, hence Vosh.
R&D, for example, what kind of R&D initiatives we invest in. All of these decisions are made by a board.
That's all regulated.
Share responsibility to the shareholders that is not regulated under social democracy. This is the major point. Like in Germany, they have a trade union representative that sits on the board of executives. That's only one aspect of a larger board that's still representing the interests of the shareholders, those who own the company, who never have seen the company, they can even globally own it, right? So having one vote in that situation is not as good, in my opinion, as having all of the vote, all of the power, making these decisions as a collective. Something that kind of is not legally enforced here, right, in your structure, but you have to decide because you're a nice guy. Maybe
this video reacts without crediting them.
people are not going to be like that, and I'm saying that we shouldn't rely on the magnanimity.
We don't have to. We're going back to this. We don't have to. We're right.
Well, give an example. Like, Germany still yields terrible, like still.
He said one by one. He killed everyone who didn't agree with him. Took over every industry and bankrupted them. They burned every book that went against their brainwashing and militarized everyone to fight the neoliberalists.
Gotcha.
Let me ask you this.
Germany arguably is. Yes, not as much as American social democracy as well. The problem is, like, American social democracy is a laughable example.
Let's not use it then. But going back, why is it better? Because I don't think I ever got an answer. To have a strenuous hiring process.
Why is it better opportunity? You are, when you engage in commodity production with another person, I think it's perfectly valid to ensure that this person is not going to scumbag and cheat you, fuck you over. I think it's good business practice, even in a capitalist sense, to ensure that the person you're hiring is not like some fucking.
Well, right, that's just common sense.
And the more you
grow, so you do acknowledge the hesitancy to hire people.
I do. I don't necessarily think
okay. Well, I don't think that's
because as companies grow, you have different people in different units that also are, engaging in hiring. Like, it's just that workers now have more of a say in which direction the company should go, and that's a good thing.
It's not bad. For like a week on my business, I said 5 years building. I don't want to give him a decision on where the company goes.
Yeah.
I think that.
Why should he have that right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying the janitor comes in and unilaterally makes decisions.
Not unilaterally, but why should he have any say at all? He's not risking any of it, right?
I'm curious how it does work.
So it's a communication. The other person is a human being as well. If you have a major disagreement, then you look for someone else to work in that position. This is how it works.
I'm not getting that answer.
You're not going to get an answer.
Janitor actually makes a decision of the company.
The idea he's talking about, he doesn't even do this shit in his own practice. He doesn't even run his own businesses like this. Like how he wants to legally mandate every other person run a business. Even though there's nothing stopping him from doing this if he wanted to. He could absolutely run his business like this. He chooses not to because he knows it's a dog shit untenable way of running shit.
Have the fear of like subsistence living at the other end of that bargain, whereas like you have better amenities, better protections, and therefore more
good living conditions.
The idea is
what I'm already saying. I don't think that makes socialism unique because we can provide good living conditions.
We can, but we have now by the way, one aspect of social democracy we talked about is the domestic one. We have yet to even uncover the other much worse side of social democracies, which is resource extraction in the third world and imperialism, and that is a necessity.
Yeah, but homie, you haven't even addressed the basic employment shit. Why do you want to move on to foreign policy? Like.
Under global capitalism, and that is the reason why we have the has and have nots. On the domestic level, you believe that there's a regulatory agency that can make things more just.
Sure. About the third world stuff because I'm not super familiar with it.
Perfectly fine, but you understand that like that's a part of how.
I mean, exploiting in the truest sense of the word is definitely what's been happening.
Even capitalism, that's like hyper exploitation.
Clearly, I think that all humans on this earth deserve rights and comfort and
right.
You know what I mean?
It is funny. Like, one thing I mentioned in domestic, going back to labor force things, like we're so susceptible and so programmed under capitalist dogma that we refuse to see a world outside, and we're so captured in that worldview that oftentimes the number one counter against a socialist governance or democracy in the workplace or anything like that is always like, what the fuck, janitor just came in yesterday to make these decisions. Like, no one thinks he's the CEO.
I don't understand how it works because you keep saying rev share.
That's your thing.
Rev share assigned. Okay, here's an example. When I first started the podcast.
Tennis system, I mean.
It was fucking terrible. We quit. We started our own podcast meanwhile. We need a producer because we don't have that skill set. We need someone to change the cameras and maybe do a little bit of, someone to post videos, the captions, title, and thumbnail, right? So in that situation, we looked for someone, we found someone, and we were splitting it 3 ways. We were splitting the revenue 3 ways, anything that we make, right? And even before that, I was also giving Mark money as well to make sure that he like at least had fucking, had a revenue opportunity even when we weren't generating a lot of revenue, right? So what did I do after that? The podcast grew. Fear and now has 5 cast members. We brought in Austin Joe, my good friend, and Judy Cinderella. And when that happened, us 3, we got together and we had a conversation.
Okay.
Do we need more hosts? Do we think that this will be beneficial? Right? Do we think that we will end up making more revenue, generating more revenue in the long run?
Right.
Will we have people with unique creative ideas? Like I can more creative output than anything else in revenue. I haven't even touched upon revenue from the podcast. And we got together and we had a conversation. And I think that that is a significantly more equitable and just and better way of doing business than me hiring March, me giving Will some money originally.
ที่มันไปเกม more about the revenue
Fat salary, or maybe cutting in on the rev share for him, and then giving.
This works with this type of company because you've got 3 people that are all doing the exact same job. They're all public facing, doing the same type of thing.
True.
You're not talking about a supermarket. Talk about a manager at a supermarket having to make decisions about what he wants to order with somebody that just works at cash register, or somebody that just works at delivering product in the back, or somebody that just works at maintaining HVAC. Like, that's the issue that you run into. Yes, with 3 employees with the same type of job, they're all doing the same thing with the same public facing thing, they all have about the same ownership. Obviously, this conversation is easy. This is the easiest form of understanding how to solve this type of problem. But do it when you've got employees that are all filled into highly specialized, highly differentiated roles that all have very different stakes in the company, right?
Being March like a super
Also, all the people involved in this fucking podcast are already fucking rich. None of these people are negotiating for their food every night, right? It's also way different too.
high fucking wage, right? Way higher than like the average producer, and then making these decisions single-handedly.
Let me add another aspect to your example. Let's say you need to hire a cleaner.
Yes, cleaner. There you go. Correct.
She comes to clean's office. She works full time. You pay her.
Yeah.
The cleaner side of this is not like we don't have obviously like that. The janitorial services, right? In a theoretical situation where we have someone that needs to do it, yeah, we would also get together as a unit. Okay, the existing company would get together and decide what level, just like hiring the 2 other hosts, we decide what level of revenue cuts we are going to take from our 5% to give the other.
It's not really that different.
So, and once they get that job, and there are many different ways of doing this, but once they get that job, let's say they work for 2 years, 3 years, then they have a say in the revenue sharing structure and power sharing structure as well. Because it doesn't have to happen like instantaneously.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
my problem is that in the socialist economy, it is being regulated by the government. People can get together, but now decide to do whatever.
instantaneous
Yes! That's why liberalism, that's why capitalism, that's why this form of economic and socio-political organization exists almost all over the world. It's because it's so flexible. It's so flexible. That's one of the great things about liberalism. Liberalism can have Sharia law Muslims living together with communists that want to grow food on a plantation, living together with hyper-capitalists that want to try to monopolize with vertical and horizontal mergers that can exist with every. That's one of the nice things about our current system. Is so many different types of people. If you want to do this, if you want to make a company like this, go make it. Nobody's stopping you. But in your world, if you have a communist or a socialist organization or government, if I want to be a capitalist, you're going to fucking murder me. You put me against the wall and
can
you
be
kill me.
done.
Like, that's the difference.
That's great, you know. But in the socialist economy, there's a rule that says you need to pay her X amount of rev share.
What you're saying is not true.
Okay.
You want to know why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you want a social democracy, which time exists, and market regulation exists under capitalist formations, and plenty of capital owners hate that. As a matter of fact, I would say universally capital owners hate any kind of market regulation, which is why they choose to erode it as they possibly can.
That doesn't even make sense. That's not even true. Hasan, that is in contradiction with both reality and your earlier stated position. Regulatory capture and the idea of enforcement things of the government is actually one of the things that large companies can enjoy at a great level. There's a reason why Amazon willingly set their wages to $15 an hour without the government having to push it. You can argue that there are rents, that there are forms of regulatory capture where big companies actually love these types of regulations because these types of regulations can force out smaller competitors. But you know this, Hasan, because I'm pretty sure you were just arguing earlier that a lot of this regulatory capture is something capitalist organizations push for. That firms and businesses try to enact in the government. So he's like in direct contradiction with shit that even he stated earlier in this conversation.
I would say universally capital owners hate any kind of market regulation, which is why they choose to erode it as they possibly can, or they use it to their advantage to create an artificial barrier of entry into certain
Oh, he got the second one. All right. Watch earlier. Cut the stream there, August. I'll show them.
I'm saying in a socialist economy.
Also, there's also an argument to be made that there has been international research done. Firms do prefer to operate in countries where the cost of labor is higher and there's stricter enforcement of like labor laws and stuff, as opposed to other countries where you might have cheaper labor, but the country is less stable due to strife, revolutions, expropriation of government, blah, blah, blah. So firms do appreciate some form of, I'll say regulation. It's not really that they prefer the regulation. What they really prefer is the stability that regulation tends to bring. That is true.
There's going to be laws.
Just like there are laws in a capitalist economy.
Socialism, how I'm saying the government is telling you how much you need to pay the janitor.
That's not how that works.
Then how would it work?
But isn't that, how is that functionally different than minimum wage?
That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
Well,
So
but socialism is much more radical. We're talking
It
doesn't
have to be.
We're in America.
It doesn't
We're in
have to
America to a purely socialistic society. Instead of my thing is, I think social democracy is better than socialism. And you guys are explaining something that to me sounds a lot like something that we can already do without this huge undertaking of changing our economy from a capitalistic social democracy one to a socialism one. You're talking about minimum wage. We already do that, and we can already do better with that via regulations.
But the reason why we haven't been able to is because, like, I think the best way to explain it is this way. Okay. You like capitalism with socialist characteristics. I like socialism with capitalist
No,
characteristics.
you just said that.
What does that mean? What?
So we're both social.
So that doesn't mean that I still believe the government should be.
Now you say like social
capitalist is. No, I said I like socialism, capitalist characteristics, meaning
What?
the governing economy, like the entire economy, still revolves around a socialist mode of production, where the owners, the workers are the owners. They own means of production. They have a say in their benefits. They have a say in what happens in the company. Well, there still obviously protections against like unjust firings and whatnot, and there should be certainly.
There are now.
And there are now as well.
Really good.
America is a great example.
California there are. Really
America is a great example, however, of like how there aren't.
Which is how it should be.
Exactly. And but the reason why it's not that way is because we have capitalism with like laughable socialist
Dude,
characteristics.
I find it very interesting that you're saying you want socialism with capitalist
Capitalist
characteristics.
characteristics in the sense that it doesn't touch the means of production or the mode of production, but offers an abundance of resources and offers the idea that you have freedom. One of the major problems with former historic socialist projects have always been commodity production being streamlined on necessity and not necessarily silly things like lighter production, industries that revolve around making chocolate and coffee. Coffee was a major problem in East Germany. So like things of that nature that people need, I think those are things we need to work on. And that capitalism I think has done a much better job at offering to people, and that has a very sedating influence on the masses.
I don't see
Consumerism.
what's so great and humanizing about hiring a janitor for 0.00015% of the company.
What do you? I don't understand. That's not what I said. You just made that.
But we're saying there's a minimum wage. There's a minimum equity share that janitor will need to get.
Well, are you talking about comparison to
We're talking about minimum wage.
Right. Well, but comparing it to a model where employees are cutting on the profit is what you're saying. Comparing what we have now to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I would just point out that, well, so first of all, you and I talked about it a lot earlier about what companies do that. There's a lot of examples of bigger firms that do this kind of thing. A great one is Southwest Airlines. Did you know that they have a massive employee profit sharing model?
How does it work? What's the details?
So it's a once-a-year payment, and they look at how they did the last year, and then a certain percentage of the profits they distribute as bonuses to all the employees. And it's fairly significant.
Dude, that's great. Like in a socialist
Then they can do that. Then let them do that. They can do that. That's great then.
country, how that's it? That's all you want? Because that's easy. I can do. You know what I mean? Like what are you asking for when you're asking for socialism? Just a bonus fund based on profit? Because that's easy.
No, not necessarily. But I wasn't trying to make any assertion about that. I was trying to give you an example. You were asking earlier,
Oh my
like, what
God.
companies do that.
I think
Here's
that's
the one that does it.
I think that's awesome. And you'd be in favor of regulating that and saying, yo, you need to put aside like 5% or 10%, whatever, I don't care, of your profits to distribute evenly amongst your employees. Is that socialism?
No, that would be some aspect of socialization, especially if it's like earned by the workers that have some level of collective
It
bargaining.
just seems so bureaucratic. I don't understand the workplace.
Bureaucracy still is very much at the foundation of a bourgeois state as well. It's just that we don't think
I'm talking like this is bureaucracy on bureaucracy.
No,
I don't understand your workplace.
I'll tell you
That's not good enough. Then what is? I don't understand.
There's I think it's called People's Republic of Walmart. It's a really good book. And so like there was a genuine problem in the USSR with how we deal with crops and agriculture, and central planning unfortunately had limitations at the time because we did not have the computational power. One of the ironically like steps in the right direction was actually coming from Chile, which then got there on 9/11 50 years ago, but we won't get into that because socialism bad. But there wasn't enough computational power to implement centralized planning at that time effectively, and it led to plenty of issues, right? So ironically, nowadays we have centralized planning inside of Walmart, inside of Amazon, and these companies are generating a ton of revenue that they could cut their workers into. Maybe they would be much smaller. Maybe they would be much smaller.
That would make it socialist. That's what I'm curious about.
I don't think there's like an exact dollar value rather than there's a different exact dollar value rather than I'm talking.
Hold on. Somebody donated Crow Magna Man. Hasan has never worked a real job. It's a very life experience.
We got more new music.
Okay, we've got 4 syllables in the back. Okay.
About an entirely different way of thinking.
But there's the law. There's a law in a socialist country that says you must do
I'll give you one example. I'll give you a good example for your life, right? Right now, you Cam, right? Cam does wonderful goose gaps and Photoshop.
We love him.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I love you guys. Love you guys.
So technically, if you were interested in maximizing your
Hold up, sorry. Whoa. What? We've got 2 minutes. We're on a strong run. Hold up. Drama Frog's out.
Oh,
There's
shit.
a force and 24/7 reaction stream. He's set up. Okay, we just need a good perch. Are we about to crush?
Crafting.
Are we about to crush the juicer time? Is he ready? Is he ready to throw? What's he doing? He's doing the right things. Okay, he's doing what he's doing. Okay, we need a perch. No juicer dragon. Minute and a half. He's got so much time. Guys. No juicer dragon. Come on. A minute and 20. Come on. What are we doing? What's it take? What is there a way to make it perch? Minute 10. 1 minute. Is there a way you know when it's perching? Is he perching? How do you know? Does he do a thing? A minute. Oh my god. Come on. What's the exact time gonna be? Is it 16:30? 16:38? Bro, how long is it? What is the average perch time?
Perch!
How long does it take to bed kill it? Like if he perches at 20, is it good? He's got like 5 seconds? Bro, are you serious?
What the fuck?
Bro. I can't do it.
Generating
Bro,
God C0%.
what is this, man?
Generating God C30.
Dude, this
Generating
So
God C30.
bad.
What you could have done instead of hiring him was outsource it to Fiverr, or I don't know, get like some Filipino graphic design company. If you were one of those like TikTok guys out there who's like, I fired my entire workplace and like fucking hired everyone in Pakistan for 5 cents an hour. It's fucking sick. Like you can be one of those guys and do that. But the reason why you didn't do that is because you feel as though correctly that Cam yields better output. No,
Chewing?
she almost. I caught her. No,
You do it.
no.
I'm afraid you're going for her.
No.
I'm afraid
I'm not gonna buy one.
Sorry.
Okay, welcome.
Welcome, Ray. Okay.
Please continue.
So if you don't do that, and there should be restrictions on that, certainly. Like there should be restrictions on being able to do that, being able to just like completely outsource your workplace. Those restrictions can come in capitalist countries and foreign affairs, which many do. Protectionist trade protocols exist globally, with the exception of the United States of America, which has some protectionist policies, but others that most protectionist policies still benefit the capital rather than the working class there. And trade partnerships have created a structure where like labor has been outsourced overseas. Our manufacturing capabilities have been completely outsourced. These are very bad things that exist exclusively due to greed that you understand under capitalism that needs to constantly be put in check. But a government that is designed, a government that's full of rich people that is interested in their own wealth and wealth accumulation, that has stock options and trades like Paul Pelosi, and has that gets jobs for their family members and Goldman Sachs, like Ted Cruz, and many other examples, is never going to truly represent the interests of the working class, and is always going to put the interests of capital ahead of the interests of the working class. You will never be able to have a real democracy. There's a difference between bourgeois democracy and a proletarian democracy, or a dictatorship of the proletariat, rather than a dictatorship of the capital working
I
class.
just want to know how the socialist workplace works. It seems so nebulous when you talk about it.
It is.
I don't think that was all. I have a living, breathing, working example of it that I've given you.
No,
but
not
like, there's got to be like a constitution that says outlines, or I don't know, whatever the fuck you want to write. There's got to be something that says like, or rule laws that says, this is the minimum that a person should get from a company.
Yes, it should be married to the output. It should be married to the productive forces. It should be married to the output. That should be pegged
We talk
to
about this enough,
that should be pegged to the performance. And I think that is the best possible way
I
to work.
guess my problem with that is like, how could you possibly
Enforce that?
Not even enforce. How could you possibly even analyze that? Like how much more money are we making because the janitor comes?
That's where we go to the Walmart example. That like we are already completely aware of that. We have we have actuaries, we have CPAs that are working in real time, making mathematical equations to figure out exactly what not to pay people technically. And they could be in a total social organization of the economy with a socialist dogma. So work in the opposite direction. It's kind of like this.
Let's move to another topic.
Okay, wealth was one aspect of this, right? Like we already have property taxes, for example, in America, but we never make similar mathematical equations on capital gains, earnings that you make in the stock market. Wealth accumulation could work in the exact same way as property taxes, and yet we don't have any mathematicians working on that.
Good idea, but
and it's a great idea, right?
We'll probably do that in a lot of countries that aren't socialist.
Well, this is not just the distinction between socialism. Because we talk about theory, we talk a lot about theory, but then we also have to talk about like what is possible, right? At least in the short term. And that is the reason why I always try to tell more rugged, more rigid, more passionate socialists
That's where I'm coming from.
to cooperate. I know, to cooperate with people that are also perceived as radicals in America. Like there's a reason why Bernie Sanders, who has been a socialist his entire life, basically has only implemented, instituted, or advocated for social democratic reforms in the United States of America. That's it. That's the only reason why he's done that is so that he can inspire the masses and create an opportunity where workers have more control over their own lives and develop autonomy and inevitably develop class consciousness, creating ample opportunity for
so many buzzwords. Oh my God.
revolution.
Right, but that would never happen if people were happy with their conditions. I feel like that would not happen. But anyway, so let me ask you this: to peg this out more. In a socialist workplace, socialized workplace, certain jobs are still going to get paid more than others, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's still going to be class. There'll be class, right? There'll be class distinctions in social.
No, the class distinction is not on pay. That's a liberal understanding. That's actually why people.
Relationship to
I see people like you're the rich dude in a Porsche, and I'm the working class student.
Great question. Great question.
You don't think people will see that?
So social hierarchies are inevitable. There will be different kinds of hierarchies. What you're talking about is perfectly valid. But the class distinction in a socialist economy is completely abolished because the idea is there will be those who have and those who have not. Is what you're saying. It's an
People, everyone will have. But everyone will have more.
Exactly.
People will have a lot more.
Yes, some people that want to have more will be able to have more, and even a lot more. Yes, this is why I always.
Part of the class,
This is why I always talk about no, because they have no control over the lives of others in that regard.
I find
I don't know why it's not just the class in a Marxist sense is your relationship to the means of production. So a class, like your class, like your worker, that means there's a capital owner that owns the capital you work that makes money off of the land or capital that you work. That's the class in the class in a Marxist sense. I think it's not like a class. It's not like rich, poor, whatever.
this idea that like people in socialist
He doesn't know though. Hasan knows this. I think he's just either stressed or not giving the answer for some reason.
country who have a lot more, they're going to make a lot more money. Somehow won't be influenced by power or influence or greed. That somehow
You think no matter what happens, we'll turn into capitalism. Is what you're
I
saying.
think
There will be
people that will be influencing the system
concentration
for
of power.
themselves.
Yes. The best way to stop that from happening is democracy. Democracy in the workplace. Actual like we cannot even imagine. Marcus once said it's easier to imagine the end of the world than to imagine capitalism. And he's right. This is capitalism realism because we are having this argument within boundaries and within the cultural understanding of like existing capitalism today. And the reality is we have no way, you and I, as it stands, I have no way of like helping you try to imagine a world where like each individual worker has more autonomy and does not suffer from alienation in their workplace. We offer them plenty of more educational opportunities, plenty more free time. I guess the example you can point to in terms of different degrees of socialization would be a person doing contracted work at Uber, okay, to make ends meet in America versus like a regular unionized factory worker in Germany. The level of autonomy that they have and the level of interest that they have and the level of engagement they have in a workplace democracy or some form of it is drastically different than a contracted Uber employee. Their worldview is drastically different. Their democracy yields drastically different results as a consequence.
Let's be realistic. We're not going to spring into an alternate reality where capitalism doesn't
We're not.
dominate the
Which
world.
is why I always advocate for.
Why I'm saying.
No, that's why I always advocate for. That is why I always advocate for in the interim social democratic reforms that will yield more opportunities for workers to organize. Now, you can prove.
I'm going to follow this out a little further because I think it's interesting. So in a socialist country, there's other people who make a lot more, and within a company, are they exploiting the workers? The CEO, the founder of a car company, he makes a lot more than the workers.
As long as it is democratically organized in the sense that like every single person is like, no, your productive output in this circumstance is significantly higher than us. Then yeah, that would
How do they determine that?
Through a democratic process.
They have a vote for everybody in the company has equal ballot power.
Depending on like how long you work at the company and things of that nature. There's different formations at this point. Like this is now we're getting into
This is democracy.
how do we organize our workplace and like how much power do we give each individual vote in the workplace? Yes, they have one vote, but ultimately, what are the matters that they are tasked with voting on? And there's even in unions, there's a structure, right? Like every single person doesn't vote. The rank and file will always vote, but there's still a negotiations committee. There's still someone engaging in contract negotiations. There's still elections being held inside the union. Does that make sense?
It does.
And
But here, does this make sense?
Yeah.
You're inside, and I want to ask you that because I'm curious about your opinion. You're inside a big company. Let's just say they make cars. There's tons of employees there. The CEO, founder, he makes a lot more than the employees. Do you think that the leaders should make more than the workers? Yeah.
Well, it just kind of depends on. I mean, I think there's nuance there because I think it really depends on what the company looks like, how it operates. Should the CEO, who is on a day-to-day basis working
Here comes a nuance there.
managing the company, make more money?
He works the same hours as the production people.
I mean, with more responsibility, I think should inherently come with some more privilege. However, I mean, now are we talking about a CEO or are we talking about an owner? Because a lot of owners don't shit.
No, I'm talking about someone who's working. Ownership is probably different in a socialist.
Right, and the owners may be private or even maybe a company.
The CEO. But you agree, he should make more. So there's not room for nuance. There's just not. If you're living in a socialist country, this shit needs to be like laid out. Like there's not room for nuance. In every workplace, you're going to decide this.
There's nuance under capitalism where you have the freedom.
But there's rules like minimum wage.
With rules, exactly. You have a similar structure pegged to like
like
a maximum wage tied directly to your lowest paid employee.
Let's say.
Do you realize that? Yeah, maximum wage tied to like there could be a situation where like a maximum wage could be implemented under a socialist structure to ensure that every single workplace has at least a maximum wage that is directly tied to the lowest paid worker and their full-blown compensation and benefits package they get.
Let's just go back to so that the CEO he earns more. He has more responsibility. Oh, Hasan, you said
I don't agree with that either. No, I don't agree with CEOs having more responsibility or should earn more for the record.
What?
What? You just said
no. If you're an owner operator, and you're literally fucking. I was talking to Dan about this earlier before you got here, but it's like the difference between what you do and the difference between like let's say a jewelry designer is a jewelry designer can outsource their fucking labor, but you are the main product here, which is why
I'm using a different example.
Yeah, so if you're a fucking jewelry designer and you are responsible for all the beautiful designs in your jewelry that's like super competitive, everybody loves it, everyone wants to buy your fucking jewelry. You can still hire other people like designers to help benefit that process and make better jewelry.
Okay, where everybody's altruistic.
Yes.
They vote to say the CEO should make more money than us.
Yes, well, the way that works would be slowly but surely as you bring on more people in your company or as you expand and you grow, okay, in a democratic capacity, you are taking away the earnings that you have right now and eroding it because you're giving it to some people that are coming in because you think they're valuable enough to be able to pay that way, to be paid that way. But that process is being democratically voted on, and ultimately you know that you're doing that because in your understanding later down the line, if you care about this sort of thing, you're going to make even more money. Or rather, money should be a motivator. Money should not be a motivator. You're right.
Why does the CEO care if his company makes more money? He's not making money.
No, it's in the long term, you are creating more stability this way because you understand that every expansion of your productive output, okay, every single piece of expansion of your productive output yields better long-term stability and more money. If that's what you're motivated by. But ultimately, that's not the main motivator, and it should not be the main motivator.
I think that's a horrible thing to say if you're considering socialism. That money's the motivator. That's almost like taboo. I feel it.
No, don't worry about what other people say in the situation or what you think people will perceive from us.
Okay, so let's say in a world where the CEO makes more money, do you think it's a possible or even likely situation that the heads of these companies who make more money are going to want to influence the government and their workers to vote or support legislation to give them more money or more influence? Is that a likely outcome?
Wait, can you ask that again? Sorry, I'm saying you were rectangular and it fucked my brain a little bit.
I think that yes, and I think that speaks to what Hasan was saying. I think that's what it speaks to what Hasan was saying earlier about why a lot of Marxists have criticism of social democracy, that lack of elimination of the capitalist profit motive part of the economy. It doesn't really result in what you're saying.
So thank you, Dan. In socialism, the money motive doesn't. It's literally it's not compatible. It doesn't work because you're going to have people at the top who are going to want more. They're going to want more influence. They're going to want more power. They're going to want more money, and they're going to exert their influence, their status, even though they might have status.
They're going to
influence.
Socialism is not egalitarian in the sense that there's like full-blown equity. Socialism is not.
Socialism only exists when you remove the money motive, right?
Socialism and the way we understand socialism, yes, the money motive is. Now we're talking about.
Oh my God, how is this not so bad? You can't even switch on the side. The money motive can still exist in socialism. You can be a socialist company that's more successful than another socialist company, and higher people in that socialist company are going to earn more money than other people in the company. The difference, though, is your relationship to your actual means of production. When you go and work for a company, you have an equity owner stake. That doesn't mean you got the same voting powers as everybody else. It doesn't mean you got the same equity stake as everybody else. It just means that when you go to a company and you work, and the fruits of your labor are increasing the value of that company, you are directly benefiting from the increase of the fruits of your labor because you have an equity stake in the company. Now, you might be a really good artist and you go work for a better cooperative. You go work for a better company that is making more money for all of the employers, or all the employees. Well, employees and employers, you're kind of one of the same. But like that's the whole point. Like, you can still make more money in a quote-unquote market socialist environment. That's totally fine. You can make more money in that environment. You can make more money than other employees in that environment. None of this is inherently contradictory. I don't know how else I can't explain any of this. Jesus.
You don't want to remove the money motive
because I'm in the middle ground where I'm talking about like no, I'm talking about the realistic short-term period because I don't live in that regard. I don't live with that operation itself.
Listen, if I know that we can't do that for the time being. If we could just teleport into a utopian Star Trek world where money doesn't exist and everybody's equal, yeah, everybody would love that. But let's talk about real shit.
I am talking about real shit. That's why I'm giving you an example of like the interim period moving towards socialization or
And into fantasy land.
a socialist transition phase. But the problem is when I describe that, you say, well, that's not socialism. I'm like, yeah, I know. Money being a motivator for certain
I'm saying once you move to socialism, the system, in my opinion, falls apart. It doesn't work because it falls to the same trappings. Because people want more power, they want more influence. You're gonna have capitalistic parties that do it. They're going to want influence. You're gonna have these external forces that want that freedom.
There will always be, even a democratic organization.
I believe the best that we can do is provide laws and regulations that guarantees people a fair, equitable life.
Let me ask you
Within those rules, I believe if you're operating within those rules, then you can do and make however much money as you want if you're operating the rules with a super progressive tax rate that everybody can fight for. Because if you want to move to a socialist system, I don't think that system actually works.
So the cultural differences that we see in countries that are still capitalist but social democratic versus countries like the United States of America that are hyper individualistic and have like very little social democracy is the argument that I'm making, is that with more social amenities and with higher degrees of socialization, people's attitude towards money and money making becomes drastically different. Yes, status can be an important thing, but that social hierarchy designed around status has nothing to do with the productive output and has nothing to do with like your material reality. It has the capacity to change like the way people perceive you. It's like an attractive person versus like someone who is maybe not as aesthetically pleasing, right? Those things are going to exist. Like there's always going to socialism doesn't mean like LeBron James has the same fucking height as like like a 5 foot person to play basketball. There's going to be different earners. There's always going to be some level of competition. This is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. This is how you innovate.
If there's different levels of earners, do you agree that seems to be incompatible with Marx's theory of socialism?
Because no, it's absolutely not. Because all and correct me if I'm wrong, Sans, you're more read on this than me, but all that is being said at the end of the day is that people are entitled to the value that they create.
Yes.
If somebody creates more value than somebody else, then they're entitled to more value.
The theory is wonderful.
Yes.
But
And
we're talking about real shit, right? But when people make more, they're going to want to influence. I'm not saying everybody, but again, this goes back to what I was saying last week. There's people who are pathological. Okay.
Yes, there's always bad
and even in a socialist country, the sociopaths are probably going to float to the top just because they're willing to do everything that other people aren't, or they care about status and power. Other people don't. And so these high-functioning, highly motivated sociopaths are going to want to influence government and business democracies to increase their power and influence.
Like they do now.
Yes, like they do now. And that's why I think it's not realistic to expect that not to happen. And I think the most realistic and the best way is in between. Because capitalism doesn't work. We know that.
Actually, true.
For the same exact thing. Because people are going to want the psychopaths are going to move it. And I think the only realistic solution is in the middle, where you just create a sandbox that is good for everybody and operate within that sandbox. Because everything else seems like a fantasy to me.
Every single thing that you've mentioned in both of these equations still revolve around human greed, turning humanity and the way people operate into capitalist little demons who are driven by profit. I do believe self-interest is a thing that happens. That's certainly true, which is why you have to have certain restrictions placed upon people that ensure that they don't get out of hand with the level of power they have. The way I describe it is this: in America, people always say labor unions are corrupt. They're actually really bad. They have a rigid hierarchy and they are also susceptible to nepotism. This much is true in certain labor unions. There's no lot of reform in the Teamsters and the UAW. Shouts out to that. No, historically there absolutely has been. I
don't say that.
Oh, no, I know you don't say that about unions. My point is this though: the way I counter that always is this: there's always going to be corruption. There's always going to be bureaucratic red tape. There's always going to be nepotism. But I would much rather corruption is inevitable. I would much rather have a more just and more equitable, a more democratic process that at the very least by its very design, like in the union structure, offers tangible benefits to the workplace, to the workers, rather than the corruption that we currently experience on a daily basis under the capitalist
That's the same thing I want.
Okay, which is why I said you're not calling socialism capitalist.
I also think that socialism, when you consider corruption and high-functioning sociopaths, there's a lot more risk when you centralize the power at the top, let's say one party, for a dictatorship or tyranny.
No, that I actually don't agree with at all. I think that the democratic process in itself, whether it's a multi-party system or a single-party system or a two-party system like we have that yields like results exclusively, like material changes that are made are done at the behest of corporations and wealthy capital owners. No matter what, I think that a more democratic process is always going to be a better and more effective mechanism at fighting against centralized power and sociopaths that want to.
Well, but not democratic when there are people that want things that aren't socialism. Because remember, those people need to be whatever they do in their gulags and the social prisons, or re-educated permanently, right? Remember, democratic process is only good insofar as you're voting for the things we want. But if you try to represent a viewpoint that's contrary to our liberal ones, off to the cancer torture prisons for you.
To control. I think that if there are again, if that's an inevitability, no matter what it is, I personally believe that more of a democratic process is going to be more effective. I'll give you an example. DuPont Chemical, under the capitalist liberal bourgeois democracy in the United States of America, was able to dump toxic waste into farmlands and destroy natural water supplies and delicate ecosystems. They still do it to this day.
This is where Ethan needs to pull out the 50 million fucking examples of the USSR, the whaling certain species into extinction, and the draining of the seas, the horrible irrigation practices, the mass famines. Like, bro, do you think that these countries have better track record for environmentalism than the United States? Like,
hey, we have PFAS, forever chemicals, right? That's everywhere. We have microplastics, all that good stuff, right? In a situation where, let's say, DuPont Chemicals was like at least democratically organized, the workers themselves have more power to say, what the fuck are we doing? You're destroying my fucking uncle's farm. You're destroying my backyard. Right. And that way they can put a stop to it, or at least demand changes to happen.
The really hard one now. The really hard one for Ethan is, what if the majority of the people in that area, though, are loving this company so much that they all vote for them to be able to destroy the environment democratically? Because then Hasan's gonna go, well, okay, we need some government protections for that. Oh, so like in capitalism?
Rather than expect the government
That's where his theory
turn
depends.
around and be like, all right, we're the EPA. We just realized that we are going to.
Do you want government or more government? Socialism is all government.
No, that's not true, Ethan. Socialism is simply giving more power to the individual in that regard. You have a government that also
you're telling people you do not have a choice. You cannot run your business this way. You cannot.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a stronger government than we have.
Yeah, but you want stronger government than we have. You want stronger. You want more regulation.
Yeah, but it's even stronger than the one that I want. Yes, here's your work that you must exist in it. But you're saying on one hand the EPA is silly.
Well, the EPA,
on the other hand,
in the situation we want, this is not hypothetical. This is something that actually happened. EPA said, sorry, we're gutted. We don't have like enough researchers. A lot of researchers that were EPA also end up getting jobs at DuPont, or vice versa. There's always a revolving door. Tit for tat. Regulatory capture is something that these corporations do in order to monopolize and also improve their profit margins as always. So in that structure, the EPA basically delegated DuPont with figuring out how toxic their pollutants were. And of course, until a journalist uncovered this entire thing, they were able to claim that these toxic pollutants weren't as bad, right? So there is no method of situation where so we just sit there and we expect a government that is appointing people in positions of power that literally have material. No, listen.
Yeah, but like in a socialist organization, this would be the same thing, right? Or are you saying in socialism there's no appointments? Is everything by direct democracy? Like, what are we saying here?
We expect the government to enforce certain regulations and restrictions that they do not, because the people that are placed into that position of power have no interest or need in placing said restrictions, or maybe even lack the know-how to do that.
So maybe they don't have access to all the data.
Well, the beautiful part about that is that, at least historically speaking, what you're describing has never happened. What I mean by that is, when you look at the UAW, for example, it's supposed to be in their best interest to be anti-EV, and yet for some reason Sean Fain and the UAW is perfectly understanding of a green deal.
Hold up. That is absolutely not true. I believe it's the AFL-CIO, right, is the largest union of unions, collection unions in the United States, has staunchly stood against the expansion of. Hasan is pointing out that the United Auto Workers should be opposed to electric vehicles, and they definitely, but they're still voting in favor because it's good for the environment. Fossil fuel unions have absolutely stood in front of turning on, solar power plants and stuff because it's threatening some of their fossil fuel jobs. This has absolutely happened. The idea that unions are all pro green energy is super not true. There was a massive fight in Southern California to turn on a huge solar energy thing. It was blocked by labor unions. I don't know if they ended up turning it on or I don't live there anymore. I'm so curious if UAW stance on electric vehicles. Also, I don't know why the UAW would necessarily oppose it, as long as they're still getting to I'm curious if the UAW, the United Auto Workers have actually tried to fight against electric vehicles too. I wouldn't even believe Hasan on that. I'm so curious. This is a statement from Pence, but Pence, UAW pushing back rightly against Biden electric vehicle policies. Former Vice President Mike Pence supported United Auto Workers strikes and unions pushing back rightly on Biden administration's policies encouraging electric vehicles. Hold on, I haven't looked at this particular point. Do you really think it's not AP fact check. Biden overstates UAW support of electric cars. President Biden glossed over important details and oversimplified the facts exposed. And his boast about support from the United Auto Workers Union for cyber to increase sales of electric vehicles. In his remarks Wednesday, Biden failed to say the UAW did not endorse the EV targets he set in an executive order signed last month. The union support is also dependent in part on robust government support for union-made cars in the form of tax credits and legislation pending in Congress. While UAW has expressed general support for more EV sales, it has repeatedly declined to back goals urged by Biden as part of his ambitious plan to combat climate change. Biden Remember, don't forget, at the end of the day, please don't ever forget this. Don't be stupid. Unions aren't here to help the country. Unions aren't here to make everybody's lives better. Unions aren't here to... A union is a business, essentially. A union is a firm that represents its members that are workers. Unions exist, ideally, in order to give more bargaining power to workers against corporations that they work for. That's the whole point of a union. A union can do good things, and a union can do bad things. But at the end of the day, the unions, they're not there for environmentalism or for socialism or for AOC, Bernie Sanders, or Hassan Piker. A union is just there to represent the interests of its workers. That's it. Do not ever forget that. Don't ever forget that. That's all a union does. Okay? No more and no less. It could be good, it could be bad. That's all it does. Okay? The 50s, 60s, 70s, unions were there to enforce racism against the workers so that black people couldn't hold jobs. Today, you can argue that unions exist to protect employers against firms that have way too much fucking bargaining power. The corporations got really big, and now employees on their own can't manage their labor against a big corporation who has way more, monopoly or at least monopsony power depending on the market, right? So a union can be good, a union can be bad, okay? A union can be teachers coming together and fighting for more wages because teachers are historically underpaid in the United States, or a union could be police officers hiding the fact that another police officer instantly murdered somebody because they don't want to get in trouble, right? Unions can be good, they can be bad. Okay? It just depends. All a union does is it supports the workers of our union. That's it. No more, no less. That's it. Don't ever forget it. Don't ever forget it.
Yes.
Socialism has a purely socialistic hierarchy where they make
There's cooperative
people,
corporations.
where they make
Like Mondrian is a good example.
Mondrian is not the best example, but okay. That's like a federation of cooperations, not one big co-op.
And have they been levied with a tax of deciding to make less money to help the environment?
Yes,
When?
absolutely. Not to help the economy, but
My point is that saying one is better than the other is just theory.
well, we are talking about simply theory.
I think strong
Capitalism doesn't work.
I think strong EPA is great. In fact, I think you still need EPA in a socialist country. I don't think it eliminates the need for EPA.
Agreed, 100%.
Exactly. So then what is the point of...
What I'm saying is, in that socialist formation, there's actual real mechanisms of control that can put a stop to this kind of thing, rather than power accumulating in the hands of the few at the top of the corporate structure that then make these decisions, make these hiring practices, get people in the revolving door. I think in practice it would be great as well.
I think it's possible.
But okay, so now,
Let's go back to this idea of
first
greed, right?
you said the theory doesn't work. Now you're saying in practice it won't work.
No, but it's not.
And
What I mean is that you can't organize it that way. It won't work.
But
What I mean is that
we do see different. You and I
Ethan is kind of railroading Hassan in this debate. It's a little awkward, but...
are in agreement that higher degrees of socialization is a benefit. Okay, we're in agreement. You like unions, you want workers that have more control, you want workers that have more power, more say, and have more autonomy ultimately. So you and I are absolutely in agreement on that front. So to say that doesn't work in theory, I think betrays
the workplace specifically.
Well, yeah, in the workplace as well.
That's a huge difference.
We spend 80% of our adult lives in the workplace. It's the most important
And I
part of
think
organization.
listen, we seem to have a disagreement about like greed. Like there seems to be this notion that people that live in a capitalist country, we understand greed and desire for wealth differently than OECs.
Also, keep in mind, I'm sorry, I'm never, because he wants the credit for it, so I'll give him the credit for it, okay? He is the biggest and baddest, okay, politics streamer on the internet. Supposed to be the most knowledgeable leader on this shit, and he's kind of started getting reamed by ethanklein, who, not to knock Ethan, he's not stupid, but he's definitely not the premier politics doer on the internet, just saying.
Native Americans. And that's part of why I can't conceive of a true socialist state.
You're a union business agent. They do more than just what Destiny said. What do you mean, the Rotbringer? Please tell me what union you're a part of, or what industry, and what do you think you do that as opposed to what I just said?
Saying that, like, primitive communism or primitive accumulation, which has been the foundation of like, societal development for much longer than the industrial revolution or post-industrial revolution capitalism.
How big is DG compared to Hassan? I mean, it really depends. If we're talking about how big is DG in terms of like political relevance, we're basically nobody. We're probably some of the most irrelevant people on the internet. But if it's ever a day where Hassan feels sad, where people are bullying him, then we're literally the strongest, most malevolent force on the internet. It really just depends on who's moving from day to day, or whatever political person I'm wrestling with, I guess.
Right?
I think a lot of people say that greed is learned. That if you grow up in a pure socialist society,
no, absolutely. Self-interest is a real thing that people have, but people can be taught, and people can learn that the collective aspects of societal development are far more important for self-interest than the individual, the hyper-individualistic, like, I'm gonna get mine, fuck everybody else.
So the point of going to this greed discussion is to talk about like human nature, and that I believe that in a perfect society, socialist society, there'll be forces of influence of wealthy people, people with status, people with power, wanting it more for themselves.
My argument
And I believe that that's innate.
Yeah. So first of all, I think that there's a biological imperative. I think that, like I said, self-interest can be.
Resource hoarding and greed.
Yes. So
how's accumulating lots of money different than resource gathering or accumulation?
I will describe it to you. A society that heightens collectivist understandings, okay, as a consequence of it being directly tied to our at this point our means of production and how we understand it, how we generate commodities, is going to have the exact opposite opinion on collectivism versus hyper-individualism, the way that you see it under capitalism. More people will have a collective understanding that like we're in this together and we're working side by side. And then yes, you're right. And the reality is that there will still be people who are self-interested, people who will still want to utilize the existing construct, the existing hierarchies to their immediate advantage at the cost of others. But my point is that if that is an inevitability, which I agree, because there will be people who are sociopathic, criminals, charlatans, open pros and whatnot, okay? That will always exist, but even if that exists, and I'm being very realistic about this, wouldn't it be better to have more mechanisms of control in the form of democracy and ensure a world in which everyone has more autonomy in a place where they spend 80% of their lives on?
It would be.
So yeah,
I believe that there's a rubber band. It's pulling us to the center of gravity of social democracy. Capitalism, socialism, and the rubber band pulling us in both directions towards the center. That's what I believe.
Okay. And my point always is that while marginal incremental reforms in social democracies were made when there was actually a counterforce in the form of communists, trade unionists, anarchists, and the like, okay, they have been thoroughly eviscerated both in this country and in Europe as well, which is precisely the reason why you see Europe following the American attitude with its own conditions getting worse and worse year over year.
If you're willing to at least acknowledge that there are going to be innately, just as a product of the human condition, people that are born greedy with a desire to want to hoard resources. I don't know why you're afraid to say greedy. They're hoarding resources. If you're black people, then that's okay for me because there was some takes I saw that pretended like that.
Don't have conversations with people on Reddit who also themselves will probably change their ideas. There's people are very rigid, especially the guys of anime online. It's not reflective of the actual conversation that you could be having.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
But yeah, I follow this trap. I yell at people in my child times. I sometimes lose sight of like sarcasm and I can't get an accurate assessment. I don't know. Where
Makes sense, yes, you.
Okay.
But I want to continue.
If you go to I'm fucking everyone's comments after this. I'm just letting you know.
Okay,
While you're peeing,
maybe we should both go so you don't get the advantage.
No, me neither.
Those people for me.
No, I'm holding it in.
Shot you on the pee.
Yeah.
Taking a pause.
Oh God.
Not. Want me to mute his mic? That's fucked up. I'm reading.
No, I have control. I have control.
Hassan's
there you
making
go.
comments now. Hold
I
on.
think this has been a relatively good conversation. I mean, God knows what people will do to pick this apart. Because every single time we have conversations, it's very frustrating. But like, there's a secondary market, like a college industry of people who like pick apart every detail and make these like grand assertions off of it, which is very frustrating because it's like, I guess if you're from one of these communities out there, there's plenty of them. There's so many people making videos, right?
I mean, like, bro, you're doing a public podcast on the internet. Yeah, people are gonna react to your shit. You do it too. Why do you watch Ben Shapiro? Why do you watch Andrew Tate? Yeah, yes, this is what we do. Hello. Destiny, do you generally support unions? Even with police example, couldn't that union be seen as positive pushback comparable to our company? So my feeling is that My feeling is that today, capital is incredibly powerful. Corporations are incredibly powerful. I feel like it's pretty essential to have unions to negotiate on the side of the labor against capital, because capital has so much power today in the United States, probably most of the Western world. So I would say, largely speaking, I think unions are good things, because we probably need more representation on the worker side versus the corporation side, which has plenty of advocacy for itself. So yeah.
I'm going to say that the Asian podcast is, I would say the Asian podcast, we do that too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we do that as well. Yes, I do that as well. But like, my question always is like, you're coming from like, this music, don't you feel like you're duped a little bit by whoever you trusted into believing that there's like genuine discord and division here? Like,
nobody thinks that like this podcast is probably not ending based on this disagreement. Didn't I say that? Like, you'd be pretty unhinged to think they're gonna like shut their podcast down over this. It's just funny to watch the premier political stream on the internet like be so utterly clueless defending the ideology that like somebody you're simping for against. No, that's
Actually, Weasley.
You and Ethan,
yeah, or even, well, people didn't attack you as much. Surprisingly, it was more so me. You know, you and him had a big disagreement. It's odd. I don't know, because you have a lot of differing opinions as well. For some reason, you weren't getting criticized much. Almost like people are more self-interested in certain.
It's almost like people have different expectations for people depending on how they sell themselves on the internet. Like, what? Like, do you think he's saying something insightful or profound there?
But I think there's definitely an element that people definitely have it out for you. And also, I think I saved myself a little bit by being at the beginning, I don't know how much of the conversation caught, but I was very reluctant to engage in the conversation. And so, you know, anything that I said was kind of tinged with the fact that like Dan doesn't even really want to be here. So I guess maybe that softened people's anger. I'm sure people did get angry about it, but frankly, I was stressed about it afterwards just because like I don't know, I don't like being the center of attention. And so I stayed off of social media all weekend. I just didn't look at it. Yeah, they were blazing me up, which some people were, but
yeah, I'm saying Queen Dan, when they're saying when.
You know, maybe I'll take this as an opportunity to drop a little bit of knowledge I don't think I've ever actually shared on the show.
Knowledge.
My one side of my family was actually I'm descended from a bunch of like hardcore Bolsheviks in the Russian Revolution.
I knew it.
Fuck, dude, that's you. That's right. You're fucking done.
My last name Sverdlov is a bastardization of Sverdlov, who was one of Lenin's like lieutenants in the revolution.
I mean,
we're talking like great uncle or something here. You know,
your family's proletarian violence is contributing to the man. Yeah, we're czars here. How dare you?
Sorry, I didn't want to piss off the whites.
So I know I see the picture and I was like, dude, he's a little too comfortable now. He's feeling that. Red scare.
Yeah.
Red scare. Okay, so I want to move on to some more practical topics. But before we do that, I think it's a great conversation.
I agree.
Anyone that's mad, you're wrong.
Play this
Anyone
song.
that's conversation, you're wrong. This is a good conversation, right?
I've been keeping an eye on the chat, and I think a lot of people have found this really interesting.
Okay, good. The last time was a little jaded, but I wasn't going to stop me. But anyway, also I want to emphasize that we agree on so much, like literally 95%.
In the practical application, in the short term, we are in agreement 100% of the way. If you like Bernie Sanders, then you know you're good with me. That's my opinion, because Americans do not have any class consciousness, and you have to build that. There are certainly differing opinions, like people who believe in accelerationism or whatever. But I truly think that America will only accelerate towards barbarism as it has, and not necessarily socialism, without any kind of without people believing that like they have any kind of autonomy in the workplace, any kind of means of collective bargaining in the workplace.
Okay, so anyway, my point is, if you're angry, you're being silly right now. This is good. This is a good conversation. And on my part, again, I'm pretty ignorant, so this is good for me to kind of.
I think you are more important than anyone else. Ignorance is one thing, but you're very curious and you're charitable when you want to learn things. And I think that is truly important, as opposed to being like, I made up my mind, this is good. I mean, obviously there's still hang-ups, but that's always going to happen. It's just this kind of dogma is too powerful. Everyone has their own journey.
We have like over 30,000 people watching, like a really,
debate about this.
Yeah, socialism and social democracy.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that. And like I said earlier, I mean, I think there's been a massive sea change in this country in the last decade, largely thanks to Bernie Sanders. I go back and say like Occupy stuff in the financial crisis when it.
Actually, no, Bernie Sanders probably did drive a bit of it. That's to be fair.
But like, I can't imagine having this conversation when I was like a teenager. You know, like it'd be non-starter.
Yeah.
Well, we're both radical, by the way. We're saying by
yes, yourself in the eyes of the broader American public are.
I would consider radical.
Compared to someone like myself, yes, people will go, oh, she seems reasonable, which I personally love. I think that's a great thing. The more insane I look, the more sane you look. And in the short term, what you're advocating for is unironically good thing. Which is why also
you look crazy for once. I look sane for once.
No, but that's my point. Is that that's why also that's why I also try to engage in movement building in the other direction as well. Whenever there's like, because there's plenty of people who fucking hate me on the left of me who have like radical, Maoist or worldist opinions or whatever the fuck. But I never give that any kind of light or any kind of attention or dunk on it because I feel like, yeah, they look crazy or whatever. Who gives a shit? Ultimately, if they are working their own way to erode the power that capital has, then you're good in my book. And that even extends to social democrats to the right of me as well.
So just to summarize my point before we move on, it's essentially this: I believe social democracy can address all the issues that socialism attempts to address, and also offers a more realistic proposition for an organizational society. That's it. But let's move on.
Fun times. Okay. Well, I'm glad I got to share these moments with you. It was super fun. My flight was at 7. I still have some like packing to do. It's like 6 or what is it? 3:30.
Okay, I guess that would end
Good
it.
friend of the stream, Matt Walsh.
That was a pretty good, entertaining podcast, I guess.
Yes, only more men could be pathetic, disgraced cuckolds like left-wing streamer Destiny.
Thank you.
Yes, ending with a song.